Well, I'll tell you what then. Speaking of up close and personal, why don't we start the character thoughts? Kind of catch up, but also just to bring us back into to get our game faces on. Jade, you're currently up close and personal with a certain somebody. Can you let me know what's going on?
It depends on which one you want to end up referring to. There's one of two options, and a third if we are talking emotionally. The Give me a sec. As it stands, Bright has been asking questions. Apparently, now I'm a little bit more lucid than expected. So the truth of the matter is while I will try and answer questions that as I can,
As you.
as the rules allow. However, at this point, I am concerned primarily for Bright and DJ, at least in the immediate sense. But we are heading to Green Shield. Green Shield, Jade has some history with, and some individuals who she has history with are there. More to the point, there's one person she dreads meeting, and she is starting to contemplate on who amongst her group would be able to take on the appropriate application of discretion in order to facilitate any kind of interactions with said individual, namely her brother Jacob, who was revealed last session. Because as it stands right now, if she doesn't, somebody might have to pay the piper. Still, the mission must go on, and her patron has made it very clear to exterminate and annihilate the Fae and the vampires along, because ultimately they are not a part of the grand scheme. They are a hiccup in the perfectly working system we know as existence. They are truly the thing that should not be, and Jade is a thresher, here to remove them. But at what cost? She hesitates to guess.
All right, let's move over to Bright. Bright, what's happening in your corner of the world? Oh, can't hear you.
Okay,
Hey, there we
so
go.
my camera's centered now and my microphone is on. Those are both good things. Um, so um, I really, it's been an interesting day, an interesting couple of days. I've really enjoyed getting to know the real Jade and not the Jade that's, and I know it's temporary. And I also know that I had a really kind of complicated week out of character and I wasn't able to do the out of character thing that we usually do or the side chat. But I'm really happy to start to get to know the real Jade and to be the way she was or the way she is. And that's really, really important. And also, I'm a little frustrated with Tazrae. He's I feel like we're still a little responsible for him, but at the same time, he's really more of a nuisance than anything else. He really just kind of gets in the way, and we keep having to fight him for nothing, like now, and I'm really worried about that too. So, fact, I I I don't know. I just yeah.
Yeah,
So that's pretty much where I am, and I'm also concerned about Raphael. But we talked about that last
he's
time,
out
so
there. Yeah,
nothing to add. So that's all. Okay, I'm done.
noted. All right. Celine, let's jump over and let's get into your
Right.
skull.
There is much going on. Um, this traveling, this book that I now have, this hunting of Raphael, whether he be a revenant or worse. It's all just so very curious. And I'm very interested to find out why this is the way that it is. And I don't know. There's just so much. So much going on and not a lot of answers. And I would like some of these answers.
Is Celine overwhelmed, or?
Not so much overwhelmed, but she does have a lot on her plate, yes.
All right. Anything else you wish to add?
No, that is all.
All right. Just keep going down the line, especially because Noralai keeps saying that I pick on her. So Noralai, you're gonna get to go last. But that means since you have time to think, you better make this a good one. Mordecai, run interference for Noralai.
Well, we came to some interesting conclusions about what Raphael might be, as Celine said, and all of which is weird. And there's just a lot. Just a lot of my own existence questions have been coming up again as to why is it that many of the vampires that we come across are more like thralls and less like me than am I a rarity? Am I different? Or is there is there something special going on because I'm with a group of party members? Who knows? But right now, as we're coming up on this bridge, being a little hesitant and being a little bit nervous because the last time I crossed a bridge, it made me feel like I wanted to violently hurl, even though I don't exactly. My stomach doesn't work like that anymore.
Yeah, really odd.
So, trying to steel myself, get over my nervousness. I find myself running across the bridge in a fit of fear because Jade has decided to manipulate my emotions.
Now, was it the bridge, or did you take off behind a tree that was nearby?
Oh, he didn't have a choice. He was running across the bridge.
Okay.
And Jade may have put me in danger, and I am running like mad.
And then, unless there's anything else, you've bought some time for Noralai to step up.
Mordecai tried to steal my chicken.
That is true. In fact, you enshrine that forever in art. And save for weaving it into a tapestry to put on the castle wall. It is there for all to see Mordecai's embarrassment as he tried to bully poor Noralai's pets. Anything else, Noralai? What's important to you?
Well, that was the most important bit. Was, it's my chicken. Oh, and she lays like blood eggs now, which is weird.
Yeah, something kind of happened with the chicken, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Would you say it's kind of wild?
It is very wild.
And magical?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should probably try to do it.
Oh, existence is strange. Like, who says life is strange? Because not all of you can apply for that. So we'll just say existence is strange. All right. Well, we did in fact leave off at an interesting place and time where. Here, I'll scroll down. As you were traveling along a road here, by the almost kind of by the headwaters, where the Perfume River starts pouring out of the Brow Mountains, there was this moment of what do? We have Mordecai with us, but we also have Tazrae, and so here we have two vampires who don't like Vater, and Jade had a very interesting idea to help scoot them along as quickly as possible, and that was to instill fear. So fear was in fact cast. Mordecai tried to resist, However, from the multiple threads of reality that could possibly exist, Bright chose the one that she wished to have happen, and so plucking.
I didn't technically choose it. It was just something that I saw. I did not have a choice in that.
Then I'm sorry. Thank you for the clarification. So Bright is completely innocent. Yes, exactly. So Bright is completely innocent in Mordecai succumbing to Jade's fear effect. Now Tazrae did not pass this as well, and chose to react in the way that he best knew how, and that was to fly into a rage. Now, unfortunately, that rage does end fear effects that are on him, and so we are going to be picking up in a bit of an interesting state. So if y'all want to grab your tokens, and Mordecai, you'll want to put yourself on the bridge, about 30 feet away from this.
60 feet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right, because you have to dash on your. So your starting point would have been around here, as this is DJ and this is DJ's cart, and I have to drop a Brayson the donkey onto onto the field here. Let's see. That's kind of donkey-ish. Probably would have been walking on the road here beside DJ in the cart. So there's your donkey. This figure here, this knight figure with the sword and shield, he doesn't have. He doesn't wield a one-handed sword or a shield, but getting a specific silver dragonborn vampiric barbarian token that's in the free set isn't exactly viable. So I just chose something that looked remotely grayish and aggressive. I think that encapsulates Taz at this moment very well. All right, so there we have. Now, so at this point, you are just starting, Mordecai, to cross over the running water, and there is also a mist that is pouring over. With the illustration provided, this is a bit of what you're getting here. So you have the Brow Mountains, and you have these waters, like the melted waters from the peaks and such that is pouring down. There's a causeway bridge that crosses over like over and under the river and the waterfall, and there are mists that pour over. And so in my battlefield awareness prep talk with you all to make sure that we're all playing on the same level, it is the middle of the day. I think we left off somewhere in like just afternoon, like 1 or 2 o'clock, if I recall correctly. So it is bright light conditions. There is mist that comes off of the waterfall that may provide an obscuring effect over the bridge, and if it does, I'll be sure to let you know. But the bridge is wet, and there is clouds of mist that kind of pool and go around. Where you see the dark green swirls, that is the banks of the river, which are about 30 feet below the bridge. And so everything to the south and to the north of the light green line, that's, it's grassy, it's rather flat. You have a bunch of trees that aren't purple, but I indicated them as such because I already used brown for the road. If you want them to be purple, hey, that's your imagination. Who am I to tell you can't have purple trees in your own mind? But those are the...
Take a couple rubbers, down a couple down.
There's trees that you can climb. They go up various heights if it becomes relevant. The bright specifically for you, because of the running water, the humidity, and the misty clouds, catching things on fire. Not that fire spells are affected themselves necessarily, but catching things on fire might be a little bit more difficult here, because there is so much water blowing around. Everything is rather dampened.
That's a little disappointing, but it's okay.
The bridge is made of stone and does seem to be of very, very good handiwork. You don't need to be a dwarf to understand that. And aside from that, I mean, we're in the normal, every square is 5 feet. Do you have any other questions about the immediate conditions of the map where we're going to be picking up tonight?
Just want to double
Vampiric Bard is
I don't-
running for life.
check
The Cause of Fear is running for life. The Barbarian frothing at the mouth that also has fangs is currently trying to eat the thing causing fear.
Correct.
Do I have a brief summation
Yes.
of what's about to happen?
Yes,
I
Tazrae's
just wanna
definitely
make
looking
sure-
at you. Yes, what, Bright? I'm sorry.
Because this right here, that's Tazrae, right? This one's DJ,
Yes,
and this is Brayson.
yes.
To make sure.
And the man in a sleeping bag is clearly a cart, and not a man in a sleeping bag.
That's basically how polymorph spell works. You just like take a little corner of the person's existence and you give it a little tug, and sometimes when you pull the shape on it a little bit, the rest of it just kind of changes to fit the new shape. And so when you stretch out a man on a cart like that or in a bag, he turns into a cart. It's very obvious.
All right.
It's logic.
So I will need you all
That's how
here.
magic works.
However this is going to work out, be it battle, negotiation, a little bit of mix of both, physical or magical intervention of some kind, I'm still going to need initiatives as we go step by step through the resolution to this very interesting situation. Let's see. So we have Bright on a 15. Nice. We have Mordecai also on a 15. Noralai is strategically taking her time to observe the battlefield. Another 15 with Jade. And now we just need a Celine on a 15. 15,
whole
15,
party goes
6,
the same
15,
way.
15.
You don't need to worry about Celine. She is not going to do anything unless it shows that there is a massive threat to somebody's life via one of the vampires, whether it be Tazrae or Mordecai. And in that case, like her entire thing is going to be if someone decides to, one of the vampires decides to be a dick, she's gonna cast. She's gonna use her Child Divinity turn undead, but otherwise she's just gonna have that prepared the entire time. So a lot of my actions are gonna be like, I'm keeping this ready.
Well then,
Just in case.
well, hey, you know what? In this battle, I can say we'll cross that bridge when we get to it here. As I have a 4-way... I'm sorry, go ahead, Bright. What were you saying?
Well, Celine's not technically on the map, so even if she's not planning to participate, I think she should still be on the map.
Yes, we will need a
yeah.
token on the map. Now, since 4 of you are tied for initiative here, apparently you all had the same thought, even though you'll be doing different things. You get to tell the DM what order you're going to go in, since 4 of you...
I'll go first.
Jade goes first? We can do that.
That's a Celine. She can be in the cart currently.
I'll go after Jade. I don't mind that.
Okay, Jade, Bright,
After that.
Mordecai. That would then leave Celine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. And then I will get to do something. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I won't. Peggy Sue, who operates off of a separate initiative, gets to do something. Then I finally get to do something. Then Noralai, you're not last because by default the NPCs go last. So there's that. But Noralai, you can sit back, take in everything that's happening, and make the appropriate actions as you will here. All right, so as it is very clear that Tazrae is enraged. You can use the... I mean, you know Tazrae from before he was turned. You've already fought him once in the barnyard. So, you know, unless he pulls out a new trick, there's probably things that you can remember him about. You can remember about him. But Jade, it is your turn, and you tell me what you would like to do.
Just as a clarification question, really quick.
Oh, yes.
Am I taking this turn to run, or have I already done that in this initiative?
Since he would have been affected simultaneously,
Mm-hmm.
but he also raged. So I will say that you've already taken your turn and he's taken a turn to rage. Then everyone just like snapped to attention. So we don't have a surprise round, but we've already settled where we're at right now. And so we're going to start with round 1 is going to be now with Jade.
Perfect.
Jade uses her full movement to sprint.
Okay.
And while she ends up doing so, she ends up turning here to Tazrae just before she bails and says, "Oh, you've always been a dullard."
Okay. Are you going wide of Tazrae, or are you not going wide of Tazrae?
I'm going straight across the bridge.
Well, for purposes of, am I going to get to swing on you? Are you running past him so he does take an AO, or?
I am running right past him.
Okay. Alrighty.
That'll hit.
Alright, you can take 15 slashing damage. As he comes down and whoops you.
So there's a large gash across her back as a small amount of her blood ends up cascading on the bridge, and you kind of hear it. Why don't you try it again? Maybe next time I'll feel it.
Whew. The taunts and the bantering is real here. Also, Journeyman, thank you for the raid and for bringing 23 other really cool people with you. So thank you very much for that. Yes, because I think fear is a concentration spell, is it not?
Yeah, you have to make a concentration check.
Journeyman, we're doing well. We've just started a combat, so if you want some entertainment, sit back and find out what happens when 2 vampires and a host of other people fight over a bridge on running water. All right, so a Constitution save of 18. As I inflicted 15 damage on you, I believe the DC is
DC 10.
It was it's 10 plus
10 or half damage.
10 or half. Okay. So then it would be yeah, okay. So you pass. Wow. Not only are you bantering, you mean it too. You aren't just bluffing, Jade.
I don't think he has any idea on what it is that he's incurring, but he's willing to try and stop me.
We now have Bright. Bright, you are up next in initiative. What do?
Everybody, you need to spread out because he has really bad breath and you don't want him to breathe on you. I'm going to come over here now, next. And then I'm going to say, "Hey, Tazrae, remember when you, into the cabin, were you trying to accomplish something or were you just tipping the scales?"
All right, so the spell goes off with no wild magic, so it will work as intended, with Tasha's uncontrollable, horrible, terrible, no good, very bad, hideous laughter. And this is going to mean that I need to roll a wisdom saving throw. What do you mean?
You didn't get it. Okay, that's fine. I'm just gonna come up here then, and that's all that's needed.
I'll get you, you little snack!
I bet you
Well,
will.
you can try.
Okay, that's all I'm done.
Mordecai, start of turn.
Well, since Jade is still concentrating, I have to run 60 feet.
Whoop, 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 whoop. Alrighty. Now, you're starting your turn and you are over some running water here.
Yep. So, whatever environment thing's gonna happen, I guess.
You are going to take 13. This would be radiant damage?
Counts as acid damage.
Acid?
Yeah, typically.
Okay.
13 acid.
There we go then.
Oh, butts. It's not looking good. Alright.
But you do get to move, and then what you can save against the fear at the end of your turn, if I'm not mistaken.
Only if I lose line of sight.
Oh. Well, shoot. Then the boogeyman's after you, Mordecai.
Yep. I have to move. Let's see where.
So Mordecai, as you're running, you're frantic. You are normally have in your day in the daytime you have the very dark kind of the blockout clothes. You're going over the water and like little bits of sunlight because you're huffing, you're looking over your shoulder, you're not moving optimally. There's not a mechanical penalty for it, but you are giving off like wisps of some like shimmering smoke off of you as that is occurring.
Like acid would.
Yeah. It is causing. You're going to feel a pinch. I say that after you've already felt the pinch, but so now we go to Celine. Celine, who is in DJ's cart down here.
Yep.
What are you doing?
Has Tazrae hurt anyone yet?
Yes, he took a swing on Jade and ended up giving her a wound.
Okay. Question: Which one is Tazrae? Is this one here Tazrae?
Yes, that is Tazrae.
Cool. So.
All right.
Let me do that. Could he make a wisdom saving throw for me, please?
Yes, indeed.
Wouldn't that still count as a fear effect, though?
That's what I'm.
No.
Doesn't it?
It does not inflict the frightened condition, and therefore is not a fear effect.
Oh.
All right, so that's not an 18. The game clearly cheated and gave me a 4 instead. So that means that Tazrae, yes. If he doesn't, then whoo, Taz is a very wise barbarian. All right, so he must spend his turns trying to move as far away from you as it can. And so he will.
Basically, this is when because he wasn't affected by Jade's little boogeyman. This is when Celine becomes an even bigger boogeyman and is like, over the bridge now.
Why are you trying to steal my stick?
Oh no, I'm just
This when we start the one-up contest and just see on like who becomes the most terrifying out of the group. Is that what we're doing?
All right.
Just a supplement, nothing more.
Tell me, how does your turn undead manifest? Give me some special effects. I mean, this is the theater of the mind. You have an unlimited budget.
That is totally fine with me. So Celine kind of steps down from the cart, and as she's saying this prayer, she takes on a visage very similar to the angels of death that she summons when she uses her spirit guardian. And she just gives Tazrae this look that says, if you don't get over that bridge right now, I swear to we just.
All right. Mordecai, you are not in mechanical range of this channel divinity, this turn undead. Though, as you're looking over your shoulder, I mean, you just get an extra little dose of feared. This is not Mordecai's best day here. You have this fear effect of whatever Jade's manifesting in your brain, and then Celine is also emanating this undead fear behind you here. All right, now we come down to Peggy Sue, the little flying unicorn familiar of Bright.
Can't hear ya.
Keep turning off my microphone. It's so sad. So she has, if I remember correctly, 50 feet of movement.
60.
No, it's 50. It's 50. So she's going to use that to go as far this direction as she can, but also being at least 30 feet up in the air.
Okay.
So I don't know how far she can go. Maybe let's call it like. Actually, she could just be right here, except she's 30 feet up.
Well, because of how physics and square movement work. I mean, you could be 50 feet in the air because you just went pure diagonal, so you went 50 feet up and over at the same time.
Well, let's put her here then.
Okay.
But she's still 30 feet up.
Sure. All right, so she's there and she's 30 feet up. I'm going to write that down for just in case reasons. It is now Taz's turn, and he is going to look at you, Celine. He has fear in his eyes, but he is very savage. And he is going to turn and begin running 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80.
Yeah, no, I was just about to point out, I think he has unarmored movement that gives him an extra 10 feet of movement.
Would like to make an opportunity attack, please.
Oh, yes. Go ahead. He is,
Wait, no, don't do that. You'll break the turn and he'll come back. It's for 1 minute or until he takes any damage.
Bright, are you still bonking him as he runs past?
I think so, because I don't understand the mechanism behind that. I'm sorry.
That's fair.
Okay, that's fair. Go ahead and see if you can give him.
Of you right now, Fluffy.
Celine did not explain that on her turn.
All right, so you go to flick him with your dagger, and that boy has legs. Like, you just go to try and hamstring him, and maybe not purposely, but just right off his scales. Your dagger blade is deflected, and so he runs past. So now Mordecai, not only do you have the fear effect, you have this distant turning manifestation, and now a raging vampiric, bloodthirsty vampire is on your heels chasing after you. If it makes you feel any better, despite this hat trick of I mean, it's a good thing you don't have to like pee or poo, because I mean, your britches would just be done for. No amount of prestidigitation would bring those things back. But he does also begin to hiss and start taking damage, and so he stops there, and he looks around as he's and he looks back over at you, Celine, and he also, well, because he also ran in front of Jade, he seems to take a step up as he's standing now, like in the middle. I mean, not in the water, but he's standing over here, and this kind of like mist is coming over the bridge. It is now Norali's turn.
I didn't expect him to move. Alright, I'm gonna move up. About there, I think.
Okay.
And, you know, this guy's kind of scary. So, he's gonna slow down a bit.
Okay.
Need to make a wisdom saving throw.
All right, let's see if you get any special bonuses. You do not from the natural wild magic. However, you can roll me a d20 yourself because you are wild magic incarnate. And we'll see if you get a 1. That is not a 1. That is 1 plus 8. All right, and so now... slash roll 1d20, and I need to see if our good old raging friend here passes. And this was I'm sorry, what saving throw?
Wisdom save.
Oh, wisdom save. Is a 16. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, he is just he's not having any of your guff, young lady.
Well, I guess that depends on Bright.
Norlai, what is your passive perception?
I don't have any more. Norlai has her own dice twiddling ability, but I don't have one.
Passive is 11.
Okay. Noted. Any other manipulations or anything, or do you have anything else to do on your turn?
No.
Okay.
Not for this turn.
DJ looks rather concerned. All of this is happening around him. Celine, you're next to him. Bright, you're there. He looks back and forth. What do I do?
Keep going over the bridge.
Yeah, just and otherwise, we'll take care of him in just a minute. We fought him before. We usually knock him out pretty fast.
Okay. He takes up a defensive stand. Like he's like kind of like getting the cart ready in case he does have to move out. But for his action, he's going into a defensive stance here. We now come back up to Jade. And Jade, what are you doing?
All right. I think I need to set up the mind frame here for a sec to
Sure.
understand context to this action. At this point, Tazrae has proven that he is reckless. He is a danger to those around him. And all it takes is a very minor bit to set him off. And more importantly, that makes him a danger to everyone around him. And Jade has already made the promise on what she does when that's the case.
Yes.
He is in a position where he is burning, he is hurting, and he is currently wanting to stop and face Jade rather than deal with what's actually happening. He is currently in a position where he is compromised. So at this point, Jade is going to move up to 5, 10, 15, 20. And Jade is going to cast her final spell for her levels.
Okay. The Hunger of Jade. Hadar. It's like getting those nice 80s rock songs that are, they have the alternate title off in the parentheses on the side. All right. See if you get any fun, any happy fun time with your spell. You do not. The forces of wild magic appear to be not present. I mean, you're getting that kind of static buildup here, like almost like some of the mists of the water, like kind of hovering around you. All right, so 20-foot radius. Okay, you drew it on there. 20-foot radius void.
It out, but...
Filled with whispers and slurping that can be heard up to 30 feet away. No light can illuminate the area, and creatures fully in are blinded. The void's area is difficult terrain. Any creature that starts its turn in the area takes 2d6 cold damage. Okay. Is that you might get a little bit? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Are we a little wider than we are tall?
There it goes. That's
Okay.
better.
All right. Is that what you want then, the purple square?
Yep.
Okay. All right. That is the Hunger of Jade. Jade, can you roll me a d20? Okay.
Oh no. I don't know what it means, but it's bad.
Jade, your spell goes off, and well, really, poor Mordecai. Just right behind you is this hungering void of nothing that now also is making cosmic slurping and burping noises. However, this does sever your view from Jade.
Yeah, she would have dropped concentration anyway.
Yeah, but now you don't have a choice. You have to continue.
We have. Okay, so Jade, your ears, you and Mordecai, your ears are filled with these not quite so pleasant burbling brook noises. And otherwise things are distracted here. Norlai, Bright, and DJ. The waterfall is beginning to slow down. You're not hearing that of that kind of that nice pleasant white noise of water falling down and hitting rocks and splashing.
That's nice. Maybe the water will be calm enough to swim in soon.
Now, Bright, we go to you.
Hey, what time of day is it?
This is afternoon. You are in bright natural light. Maybe partially
My favorite
cloudy.
kind of light.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Because it shares your name.
Guess mage armor.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and move to here. Legs can carry me. Oh.
Your mage armor manifests without a hitch. Bright, on your 6 seconds, mechanically out of character, we know that everyone's acting in the same 6 seconds if we were to speed things up and do it cinematically. For you, in your 6 seconds, the waterfall, for everyone as I described, the waterfall is seemingly like starting to slow down. Bright, you see it beginning to taper at the bottom where it would be hitting the origin of the river. And now we go to Mordecai. Whoop, I'm sorry.
It's drying up?
It's so as the waterfall would come coursing down, and it's making a misty splash here. It seemingly the flow of the water is slowing, and then it comes to like a taper at the end, like that.
Interesting.
And
Yeah,
for
this
those
isn't
at
a
home,
dirty picture at all.
it is not.
That's lewd.
All right, Mordecai. Your fear. Wait, you get a.
Feared.
Yeah, you're no longer afeared. There is this hunger of Jade. You do not hear the waterfall because of the noise emanating off of this hunger of Jade.
Okay.
So
Do I
what?
still take damage?
You are still going to take damage, yes. As we are at the beginning of your turn here.
Not fun.
11.
Oh, butts. Okay.
You're gonna want to cure wounds or something.
Yes, I am. Alright, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna end up running 30 feet and then cast Cure Wounds on myself.
Okay.
Will 30 feet get you past the water?
Get me there.
Just about.
And then I'm gonna do it at a level 3.
All right. Mordecai, roll me a percentile for me, please.
Oh no.
I only got 11 hit points back from that. So I'm back up to 26.
Yep, no problem. A 14. You cast confusion centered on yourself.
Ooh.
You snap back.
Someone have that spell to pull it up.
Yeah, I'm
confusion from the compendium.
Oh, okay. You can throw it in chat there.
Not gonna lie, it's definitely a spell I need to consider.
Spell assaults and twists a creature's minds, spawning delusions, and provoking uncontrolled actions. Each creature in a 10-foot radius sphere centered on a point you choose must succeed on a wisdom saving throw. All right, so give me a wisdom saving throw, Mordecai.
I'm spending my advantage, my inspiration to give advantage.
Okay.
Wisdom save, 'cause I'm terrible at these. 16.
Yeah, no, I
Okay.
Get it, but...
Which
Okay.
is above my spell DC, yes.
Yep, so you
All right.
I think that advantage paid off.
Yep.
This guy's busy for a second,
Yes. So Mordecai, you found some inspiration somewhere in that. You're coming out of that fear. You're hurt. You're boiling in your own skin. You're confused. And you kind of, you slap some of that nice fresh water on you before you have that Home Alone moment with, the aftershave. You're like, ah, because it burns. On your turn, Mordecai. 10, 15, 20, 20. You are beyond the 30 feet of the Hunger of Jade.
Mm-hmm.
You now notice a distinct lack of waterfall sounds. And in looking at the waterfall is now seemingly not just hugging the cliffside, but it's almost like maybe someone put a ramp at the top of the waterfall. Because as the waterfall was coming down like this... Well, all right, so if that's... Okay. So if it's coming down straight, it's kind of like... Woo! Like, it's now... Not...
At an arc.
Yeah, it's like at an arc not clinging to the rocks. And this is odd because when did this happen? This is not...
This is not how water works.
Yes, this is not how water works. Now we come down to Celine.
Well, there's not a lot that I can do currently. So, I suppose that I might just ready, I don't even know. I don't even know what to do. I dodge.
Sure. Okay.
There's not a lot else I can do. I dodge. And that will be me.
Celine, you are now in the club of seeing interesting things. Now, in fact, going back further, Bright, even though you're in the same 6 seconds that Mordecai was experiencing, you have also now seen the waterfall begin to like ramp or not cling to the rocks. And so it's like you're experiencing some kind of like a time dilation or something is happening where in the same concurrent 6 seconds, you are also experiencing advancement of something else that's occurring. Now, Celine, this same thing is manifesting for you as well. And you see now, so you have now this arcing waterfall that's coming away and it has a taper at the end. And you see that the water is now starting to flow up. So you have a big downspout that's pulling away from the rock, and it now begins with a taper to bend up. So instead of being 30 feet down at river level on our map, it's now rising and is about at bridge level. And you're the next step in this manifestation. You've experienced now 18 seconds. Well, no, if you're the third, so you would have experienced Bright and Mordecai. And then there's your own. So yes, you've experienced 18 seconds or more. I mean, given the magnitude of this waterfall, in in what you are comprehending to be a 6-second time. Peggy Sue.
Something's going on here. Someone's playing with something they shouldn't be. No, Peggy Sue.
Was more things happening, or is it Peggy Sue's turn?
It's Peggy Sue's turn now.
Okay. So, I am going to ask Peggy Sue to be careful, but to fly over and inspect the waterfall a little more closely.
Sure.
So is the waterfall, is it like here? Or, sorry, like here, or is it farther away to the west?
No, it would be pretty well at the end of the map here. I wanted the picture to kind of indicate that, but also be, atmospheric.
Okay, so it's basically here then. So
yeah.
It's not super far away. Okay.
No.
So that's within range. So I'm gonna have her take the dash action.
Okay. Boom.
She can go about to here.
Okay.
And so that's what she'll do. The wrong button. It was here. I don't remember which one I clicked.
Okay.
But she's also 30 feet up, so the waterfall should be below her still.
Okay.
I would like to have her go even higher up so that she can see the top of the waterfall.
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, she could fly. She could fly at an angle upwards. There's not a problem with that. And you know what? Even though you use the dash action, I will still allow for an action to like actively perceive. So go ahead and roll a perception through Peggy Sue. Okay. Now, being this close, there's going to be a lot of obvious stuff that I'm going to be giving you here, due to this special link. Now I need you to roll me a d20, please, Bright.
Okay.
Okay. Well, hey, you doubled what Jade rolled. So, so with a 2. Okay, nothing happens. Peggy Sue is now advancing this same site that all of you are seeing concurrently, yet at these different intervals. The waterfall continues to rise until it's peeled away from the top and is now coming up and bending again, almost to look like a snake, like a snake head, ready to strike.
That's interesting.
Has Jade seen this yet?
No, Jade has not. But Jade's going to get everything that has come before, so I hope that you're following along.
Oh, I am.
All right, it is now the start of Tazrae's turn, and he is starting inside the Hunger of Jade. And so as he's starting his turn, he's going to take 2d6 cold damage. However, that will be halved because of his resistance.
And that he also takes damage because he's in running water.
Yes, and he will do that as well. Okay. And all right. Mixed. Well, I guess really, Jade, you're the only one who can really appreciate the gurgling sounds of this like external stomach you've manifested. And you do hear screams coming from within, mixed with the sloshing and gurgling and burbling. As he is affected not just by the like the acid of crossing over the water as a vampire, but also he's getting frosted over by this supernatural cold. Let's see. He is going to... Let's see, this is difficult. Oh, but he...
Difficult choice, isn't it?
I guess he'll try and make his way out?
So then again, from his perspective, he doesn't know which way is out.
That's true. Because it's all absolute. it doesn't get lighter. All right, so I am going to roll a d8, and number 1 is going to be the square up and to the left of the direction that he's facing.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, I'll go clockwise. All right, so I rolled a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so he is going to bonk.
He's gonna walk off the bridge.
He's gonna bonk into the bridge support. What's this? And he's gonna be groping around. And from here, he has a guide rail now. If I roll odds, he's gonna go north towards Mordecai. If I roll evens, he's gonna go south. All right, he's gonna go south. And so he is going to, Jade, you're going to see him, like, he's kind of like, he's following along the guide, or the bridge rail. And as he emerges, he looks over and sees you, and he roars. And I think he still has enough movement that he can come over to you. No! Stop! And is going to take some swings. Reckless swings at that, by the way. Good thing he was reckless, otherwise that would have been a critical failure there. But I presume that a 19 is going to hit you.
A 19 will, but let me just check something here.
Okay.
Disadvantage.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your next attack.
So he's currently at a 1.
Okay. Yeah, because
Just
that.
one.
Jade's just going to pat him on the shoulder and put him right back in the dark.
Okay. So yes, he rushes you, and so this entropic ward. How is this manifesting? Is this like a skin or a force field? Is this a word and a hand gesture? Explain your entropic ward to me.
Okay, so when Jade does this, what you see is her clothing and her skin actually almost peel up, and they start to make odd shapes. And if you're very careful to look, you'll see them as large cogs and gears suddenly moving. And literally, as the axe gets a hold, it kind of hits into it, and the gears kind of just grind and catch it.
Gotcha.
Kind of twists, and with this stuck axe, she actually uses the handle to leverage him to the side and throw him right back in.
Okay. All right, so you give him. He is going to get another attack though, as he can attack. Well, he can technically attack 3 times. But your first one, it catches, and he has to like pull his weapon free of your of your gear, of this ward, this shield that you mentioned, and even more aggravated, he's going to try and swing again on you. And phew, you really have you've rustled his jimmies. All right, and then he is going to exert himself. And with his bonus action, he's going to take a 3rd swing.
Does he still have a bonus action? Is the question.
He moved, and then he started his attack and extra attack.
He wasn't stuck by slow. I thought he only had a bonus action.
No, he's saved from that.
All right. Does a 13 hit you?
Surprisingly, yes.
Okay.
Hold on.
What?
Roll a d4 against him.
Roll a d4 and neg it.
All right, Norla, you need to roll a d20 also then, don't you?
That's not a spell.
Nope.
No, I still need to.
It's
Oh, right.
it's not, but it's intrinsic to.
Bending with chaos, yeah.
Yep.
Well, no, that doesn't happen with bend luck. It's only spells.
I mean, if it was like, unless it's some wild magic zone thing, yeah. But bend luck doesn't trigger a wild surge on its own.
Yeah, once per turn, the DM can have you roll a d20 immediately after you cast a sorcerer spell of first or higher, and if you roll a 1, roll on the wild surge table.
Oh, I thought some of the abilities also in.
Some of them do.
Tides of Chaos. If
Tides
she
of Chaos,
uses
yeah.
that, if she uses Tides of Chaos,
okay.
then you can force her to immediately roll on the surge table, but otherwise, no.
All right. Well, it would have mattered anyway in this case, but that is good to know. And then I need to know how much this attack is. Well, I guess it doesn't matter if I just directly hit. But for thematic purposes, go ahead and roll to see.
I rolled. Yep.
How much he misses by.
4.
And you max out at the 4. All right, so Jade, you're standing there, like you have this presentation of the gears that are covering you. This bloodthirsty vampiric barbarian silver dragonborn is swinging, and you're just nice and cool. It's a beautiful springtime day, it's fun. You're only using 10% of your power.
Ultra
he
is the new meme.
Tazrae is he can't froth because he's not producing saliva.
And I believe that puts him 5 feet northward.
What's moving him?
Remember the crit fail?
Yes.
There's no rule to do that though.
No,
Yeah.
it's just something bad happened.
There's not a rule, but
scenario for him.
there's not a rule, but there is always the rule of cool, and so that is something that can be invoked. I'll tell you what. Given these circumstances and the roles, and clearly this was meant to be, and I'll throw that bomb out there so Jade and Bright can fight over that one. Clearly this was meant to be. Jade, I will trade you 5 feet of movement to have him end his turn in your Hunger of Hadar, if you are willing to roll on the wild magic table, and have whatever happen.
Done.
Okay.
Oh, damn. Okay.
I'm hoping fireball.
I was gonna say, if it's fireball, it's gonna hit him too.
All right, so give me a D100, por favor. And I'm going to go back to the wild magic table, and we're going to find out what's going to happen. A 67. You are frightened by the nearest creature until the end of your next turn. All right. So Jade, just as Tazrae is like melting back into the darkness from his wild momentum, Noralai's wild magic surge sort of like provides an extra layer of protection on top of the extra layer of protection. And as he sort of like melts into the darkness, kind of like Homer Simpson into the hedges, if you're familiar with that scene, something inside you, Jade. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I could not write this. This had to have happened. So we have a 67, and so Jade is now frightened of Tazrae, and whatever happened. But for those of you, I guess, Bright and Noralai, I mean DJ and Celine is down there too, but like especially, we'll see what happens here. And now I will need my end of turn damage from the Hunger of Jade.
It's a dex save.
Oh, that I'm sorry. Yeah, that one is a dex save. So, and da. All right, so I believe he's going to be taking that acid damage.
Of which there are 2 of the sixes.
Yeez.
And that's an additional 6. Just reposting this for
Yep,
my own
yep,
website.
that's fine. Jade, you can roleplay this as you will. I'm going to give you a prompt though. Part of this feeling of fear, this sporadic, where did this come from? This, I don't know, instinct or a thought or something. You can't be here right now. Mix that. Something is conveying that seed thought that you can manifest as you will, but you cannot be here right now.
I will unveil that thought in a minute.
All right, so Tazrae is going to take a little bit of extra acid damage, and then it'll be Norali's turn.
Oh, they already rolled 6 damage for that.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, then it is Norali's turn. What doth Norali doeth? Write down Chia.
Well, Jade's not sure what happened, but I'm pretty sure that had something to do with me. I'm gonna go back here though and take the dodge action.
Okay. Norali, you now are seeing in the same 6 seconds everything that I've described to the other players.
That's why I'm moving back.
With an exception of your additional time, whatever, time dilation. As you now see the waterfall that was coursing now taper, peel away, start to bend up, come and bend back down. And a mouth opens at the head of this watery tendril as it begins to rise. Norali, what would this be? Give me an investigation.
I'm not good at those. 10 either way.
All right, so for a 10 or a 10, well, based on your interaction with Yori, it seems like snakes or other things akin to that don't usually open their mouths unless they want to employ them actively. Snakes don't really laugh or pant or, do things that doggos or the like do. So you're getting a feeling that something is going to happen.
Let's go and bite someone.
At that point, DJ looks over to you. What do you mean? Bite?
That's a snaky and snake bite when they're...
And as he looks...
Well, Yori doesn't bite, but that thing's...
As he looks... all of you now, with the exception of Jade still, we haven't come back around to Jade, hear the sound of mist or rushing water and a roar that's now emitting from the open mouth of this waterfall-sized... I'm tall. I'm not talking like as a little, not like a little 15-foot, kind of like a little... some like Kentucky little rapids or something. No, we're talking. It's not. No, it's not. Also not like Victoria Falls. This is still a decent, maybe 100-ish foot.
Worm water.
Maybe larger than that. This is still like kind of glacial melt or whatever that's coming down off of mountains into a waterfall and pouring down into a major river in the north here. So I don't know, 100 foot, maybe a little bit taller waterfall has condensed into a watery tendril, has peeled itself up away from the mountain, and has now manifested a mouth and is rearing to strike. This roar from... It's not even from beyond the grave. The grave is an actual place that you could probably even comprehend. A sound that is... it's a sound, but it's also the cancellation of sound. It is... I don't know if any of you ever worn something like noise cancellation headsets, or you've done something along those lines. But you're getting a sound that's not a sound, and you're seeing something that is... this is no cute little tendril that, you know, Jade might have ever talked about, or some of you, I think, have even seen it, at least in the corner of your eye. This is something manifesting. This is something...
One of them tried to eat me once.
Oh, there we go then. Oh yeah, that's right. So this is even the bigger version. And a mist just pours down from this thing and whooshes across the bridge. Now, Jade, you're next in initiative. This has already happened, but Jade, it hasn't happened yet. And now we come to your turn, and you are frightened by Tazrae. What are you doing?
At this point, Jade ends up hearing, and it's like a little voice in your head. In fact, it's Jade's voice. Jade is hearing, no, we can't be here. We can't be here. We need to go. You can't be here. It's not right. This is not part of the plan. You need to get back, Jade, get back. And she's kind of taken aghast, as though hearing herself as she was the very first time, or for the very first time, and begins to run, holding up Hadard, hoping this hunger that she has, as she's taking in everything that she can off of the bridge, hoping that the darkness will buy her some time. At the very least, she knows Tazrae is unable to see her run.
Okay, go ahead and move your token where you are going to be ending up.
So
now that you've run, you look back, and you, and now everyone else, sees the waterfall that has manifested lunges down with the full force that you would expect water of this magnitude and power. Its weight, its pure running water weight, strikes like a hungry viper and smashes the middle of the bridge. This sound of the waterfall overpowers the hunger of Jade, and it surely overpowers anything, any noise possible that Tazrae could have produced, if he even saw it coming, which, as a blessing or a curse, there's no way he could have. And Jade, at this moment, you now are seeing the present, and for this moment, also the past, as everything that I built up to you is now playing in front of you in order to rewind and catch up at the same moment. And so you are seeing yourself standing back by your hunger, knowing that this thing is going to strike and destroy. This manifestation of purpose. I won't put words, I mean, I don't like to necessarily put words in your mouth, but if you want to shout out to yourself to run, you shout to yourself standing there in front of the hunger of Hadar as Tazrae's disappearing. Run! Get out of here. You don't belong there. Because you already know what's going to happen, even though you didn't until you just did. Time continues and reverses and twists. And now everyone present is in the same moment. Everyone except Tazrae. And a good portion of the bridge. The waterfall goes back to being a waterfall. Takes a little bit of time to juice back up as the water fills the course again, and splashes down, and the mists to settle. Mordecai, because of the sheer amount of water that was pulled into this tendril as it struck and flowed purposely, you are not sprayed by mist, and the water over which, because you're just right on the edge of the bank up here. You know how like in tsunamis, you get a lot more beach because the water's being pulled back into the wave. This was an Eldritch tendril tsunami, and so the water was pulled away from you. That being said, and with you coming up here shortly, you're not going to want to stand where you are much longer. But it's going to be safe to say at this point in time, we are dropping from initiative as no one's in a critical state. And I mean, Mordecai, it's easy for you to just take 5 or 10 feet to kind of, like whoop 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 away off to the side. And what you see now. Let's use we'll use a bright, wonderful color here. Whoop.
That is my color.
That is. And so, the section of bridge between Mordecai and everyone else is now destroyed. Tazrae is gone, and we're back in narrative time.
Back over here now.
I'd like to ask Piggy Sue to come back.
Well, I can't jump that far.
That was entertaining. Was it fun to watch from way up where you were?
And I can see everybody's okay at the bridge, at the other side of the bridge, right?
Yeah, there's some little clouds of mist, but it's not obscuring your view. Peggy Sue feels very disturbed, very rattled on some fundamental level.
Oh no, it's because you're part Fae now, isn't it? And this is probably some kind of like Fae outburst or Fae magic, or it's related to the fundamental powers that have brought the Fae to this world. And I'm very sorry that I sent you up there. I didn't know it was going to happen when I sent you. You know I would never send you. That's not true. I would totally send you into dangerous places. But you know I would never want you to get scared by them.
Jade is grinning like a fool at this point.
I'm just way over here. I can't really hear anybody's conversation.
What you do see, Mordecai, is a single bit of waving.
So we've just learned something very interesting about why vampires can't cross water. It sounds like there's a fundamental force that strikes them when they try to do it.
Well, he doesn't like them much, and it's a bad idea for them to be anywhere near it. She looks and pulls out her book, opening up, and starts to scribble something into it, and then closes it. This is why. And this is ultimately, well, a slight inconvenience. I wish it wouldn't have taken up so much time. Looks like the river is forgeable now. And that is one less abomination on this plane. So, I almost feel like celebrating. Thank you all. She kind of turns, and this huge gash where Tazrae slashed her in the back is still bleeding.
Yeah,
like a sieve. She's so happy she doesn't seem to realize her spine has been cut into.
Okay, you're first of all, you're bleeding, and maybe Celine should tend to that. But also, I'm not going to celebrate just because Tazrae died again. I mean, I know he caused us a lot of trouble, and he was bad more often than he was good, but I still feel like we could have saved him. I'm sad that he's washed away.
I already
Trouble than he
grieved
was
for him
with.
when he was. I already grieved for him when he died. That is a walking corpse that doesn't know to stay below ground. Don't mourn for something that has here died twice. You already been through the business once.
Um, I'm just gonna very quickly move over, and I'll give Jade a good old-fashioned first level cure wounds.
Ooh, that tingles.
So, Jay's cart, like, how much does it weigh?
Probably a couple 100 pounds. It is a big thing of wood.
Okay, does anybody... How does the river look? Does it look peaceful again?
Yes, it is. It's returning back to fill its normal course, and the world is returning to how it was, or Jade might say how it should be.
So,
Though the bridge is broken, that didn't get fixed.
So, Norlight, you know mending, right? Do you think you could use that on the bridge?
I could try, but usually it only works on small things.
Norlai, can you roll mending about a couple thousand times, and I'll just be over here by this wild magic chart and brick by brick.
That's the question. Does the 60 on the D100 trigger the wild magic on the cure wounds or no?
No, it does not. I'm sorry. I
Okay. No, just making sure.
So I know how to, but I don't know how to get Rayson and the cart across. Norlight, do you think if... So, you know that you saw from that I know how to fly, and I can make other things fly too, not just me. And do you think if I could make Brayson fly, do you think you'd be able to ride him across?
Well, we probably, at least not all of us, but maybe one of us.
Oh, I just mean you. The rest of us, yeah.
Yeah, I could do.
You
Well-
seem to have the most interaction with him.
Yeah. Do you think he can also carry Mordecluck and I mean, they're pretty light actually, so yeah, we could probably all go out.
I'm
Yeah,
reminded of a riddle. It has to do with trying to only the bridge can only support so much, but there's a wolf at the other end that will eat or destroy something of value. So you need to end up doing so without actually.
Yes, I got a riddle. No, I'm not running that riddle, but yes, I like that you're.
She's looking at Mordecai across the room.
But that's not a wolf, that's Mordecai. He's our friend. He's my friend, even if he's not your friend. I know he wouldn't eat any of us. Sure about, but Mordecai would not eat any of us.
And that's why he is currently not at the bottom of a river.
Okay, I'm glad we agree.
I warned Tazrae that I would plant the dumbass tree with him.
So, DJ, Mr. DJ, how urgently did you want to come the rest of the way with us? Because it feels like your cart across the river. Do you have any ideas? Do
I
you know of another bridge?
know where you are going. There are ways to cross further, and I suppose this should be told to travelers coming this way. Why don't you go ahead, and I will cross, and I will find you. I don't believe that myself and my cart and my things can cross here. Go ahead and do what you need to do, and I will be behind you.
I really appreciate that. I think that's very understanding of you. I'm sorry that our vampire friend broke the bridge and caused you a travel delay. I promise that none of us expected that to happen. Did to happen the way it happened.
I suppose.
Who expects the waterfall peeling away from the rock, turning into a massive snake, and then crashing into the bridge. Who
You clearly
expects
have
that?
not been spending a lot of. You need to be spending much more time with me here, Celine. With that, Jade walks over to DJ and
Oh.
in this.
Do you guys have
Bug-
ice spells?
What? Go ahead.
So, I mean, I know there's a. Goodness sakes. I know there's a spell to control water, and we could make that just flow around and out of the way, but I don't know that spell. And I don't think any of us do.
Well, I
So
have
hard for me right now.
yeah. Well, I have Ray of Frost, so I can just like ice beam and make it frozen so we can walk. But I don't
It doesn't
know.
seem
Maybe
like
we
it
can
would work any better than. No, I can totally do it. I'm sorry for DJ that he can't come with us. It's just a question of Brayson. I don't want to leave Brayson behind.
No,
He's
I
been
don't
so
want
good
to
to
leave
us.
him either.
We should
Aww.
practice riding him around and see how it works.
Aw.
See how it
At
works
that-
on dry land before we try it in the air.
At that point, Jade walks over to, well, DJ, and with her currently mended wares, even goes so far as to give a curtsy and gratitude for his giving them the ability to end up traveling this far. And then immediately, probably almost out of character, just gives him like this snap big hug, attempting to lift him off the ground. Though
Sure.
he's a Minotaur 3 times.
Give me an athletics.
So
Eat the swole.
in
Oh no! Your wound opened back up.
in the background, in answer to my question, my fiance pipes up and goes, "Well, Jade, obviously." And I'm like, she's like, "Am I wrong?" And I'm like, "No, you're not." I was not expecting that. I don't think I could have ever expected that.
What has happened here is something that I believe many would like to not ever have happen, yet would love to hear about, especially in song.
Then may you make beautiful music over the tale.
I will do so, and I will find you and share what I have learned and made. If we are to part here, I don't believe that the things that I have gathered in my own journeys will be as important to me as they are to you, especially as you have given me a gift of such a tale. Before you go, I would like to give you this. And he goes back to his cart and rummages around. It isn't much, but I will give you this as a gift of friendship to you all, and in memory of the one you lost, whatever he meant to you. And so he puts, nice big classic burlap sack. It doesn't have the green money sign painted on it like in Looney Tunes, but he does fetch a large burlap sack and splorts it down in front of you all. Well, except Mordecai. Mordecai, you're kind of like...
I'm kind of just sitting across the bridge, just kind of like having sat down. I am sat down.
And so what we'll do is I am going to generate a treasure parcel for you all.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. DJ.
And let me open up my DMG.
I mean, I'm far enough away now that I'm not taking any damage anymore, right?
Correct. And with reality returning to normal, you can take the time to gauge how close you can get to everyone without, you get to the point where you're kind of tingling, but you're not actually taking damage. So,
I'm just sitting by this tree.
Okay. Oh,
Just sat there.
Okay.
Can he hear
Beautiful
us?
springtime day, Mordecai. Birds have just recently started chirping again. They kind of got quiet there for a moment. I'm sorry, what was that, Norlai?
Can he hear us if we yell? Or do we have to...
You'll have to yell because the waterfall is kind of close by, and but there's nothing. If you're telling me you're yelling or you're not trying to keep something from Mordecai, then you can communicate as a group.
I just had the thought that I could send Yori over with little messages.
Yeah.
I was thinking that too. I would send messages over on Piggy Sue.
Oh, so there's just a constant, like a bucket brigade of passing notes. And Mordecai, do you like me? Why? And check which one applies. Want to go to prom?
It says you like me, but it's not signed, so he
Yeah.
doesn't know who's
Yeah, suddenly a very confusing and sudden love triangle just develops here. All right, let me get to treasure. All right.
Yeah. So whenever Jade rolls a 1, you should run. Because I mean, whenever Jade rolls a 1, people die.
Okay. So this is something that is we call this an optional rule. This is something that I've done for my players at my tabletop in my campaigns. If any of you decide to use an inspiration, now Mordecai, you used yours to survive, and that's completely understandable.
Yes.
If any of you choose to use your inspiration to influence the quantum results of your treasure parcel, you may do so before I roll. So in other words, what that would mean is I'm going to roll on the treasure hoard table. If one of you says, I want to use my inspiration, I will roll twice, and, well, on this table, it'll be keep the highest. If, let's say we go to gemstones, and you want me to roll twice on gemstones, that would probably also be a keep the highest. Now, if we come to magic items, and you would rather have a selection, you could use an inspiration, and I will roll twice for one slot, and that slot can be either of those items that you would want to be. So with that in mind, as a house rule I'm presenting to you, I think each of the after providing you all with inspiration after the last session, Mordecai, you used one, but I believe that leaves Norlai, Celine, Jade, and Bright. Now you don't have to use it here if you don't want to. You can hang on to it and use it to survive like Mordecai did, because who knows when inspiration will strike you next. But as I'm going to roll on the treasure hoard table, in fact, for folks watching this at home, I'll put it up here. I am going to roll a percentile on Treasure Hoard Challenge 5 through 10. Do any of you wish to spend your inspiration to have me roll twice on this table instead of once?
What's the table?
Treasure Hoard Challenge 5 through 10 on page 137 of the DMG.
That includes how many... So every roll you're making on this table, like how much gold, how much all this...
It's to choose what hoard we get.
It's... Yeah, so I will offer the chance of inspiration at each of the different roll events. If that makes sense.
I will definitely spend a inspiration, give us a better chance at a higher hold.
Then, in that case...
in way of apology to Coffee Cat for what I have just done.
I'll tell you what then, as you can roll me 2d100, and we'll take a look at the tables.
And then 2.
A 98 or a 42. Well, I presume that you will want to go with the 98, as that is it's not the highest magic item table. It's pretty darn close, though. So it's either 1d4, or it's 1d4 times on magic table G, or you could choose on a 42, 1d6 on magic A. And by the way, there are some art objects or gold or other art objects.
We're going
sure.
as possible. I need to make sure Mordecai leaves with something.
Okay.
Well, I mean, A is, if I remember correctly, it's simple consumable wonder assignments, whereas G is uncommon, rare, and a couple of very rare major magical items, which include armor,
Oh,
weapons.
we're going for the deck of many things right now.
Oh, no.
That's only on Magic Table I, so we don't have access. We don't have access to that kind of power. But we might pull out something like a flame tongue or a frost brand, or a set of +1 armor, or
Could always
all
just
sorts.
draw the items instead of talking about the items we might get.
All right, so I'm going over to the 250 gold piece art object bag, or part of your treasure parcel. And I'm going to roll 2d4 here. Do any of you want to spend an inspiration to have me roll twice and presumably keep the highest here? If you want more
Not
art.
this one.
Not on this one, says Bright. Celine or Norlai?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. I'm not using it.
Okay, you're going to get three pieces. Alrighty, so I'm going to then roll 3d10. And DJ is going to grant you 555. Very interesting. Okay, this could be an interesting story. DJ pulls out 3 bronze crowns. They do look antiquated. I'll have to generate the story out of character, but he's going to tell you a story of at least how he came to have these crowns. And he'll give them to you, and telling you that they're probably going to be important, or you could wear them for fashion, or melt them down, or sell them. So, 3 bronze crowns. Interesting.
I'd wear that, but they probably don't fit on my horns.
If they were tiaras, I might wear them. Not a crown.
Okay, then. And now, we are going to go to Magic Item Table G. Whoop. A little too far. That's I. That's H. All right, here we go. Anyone want to spend an inspiration? Now, the inspiration here would be for me to roll 1d4 twice to see if you can get more. It won't be for the items. This will be for the quantity of items. Do any of you want to spend an inspiration here for me to roll 2d4 twice?
Still spend my inspiration here.
Okay. So Bright is going to spend it here. So Bright, why don't you roll me 2d4?
2d4 or 2d4?
Because it's normally... Wait.
Well, it's normally 1d4, so it would be 2d4.
Yeah, it'd be 2d4 items you're going to get off this table.
No,
All right,
good.
so it'll be either 1 item or 3 items, and I presume you want 3 items from your inspiration.
I would prefer 3.
Okay. All right. So now we have 3 slots. I will roll a percentile for slot 1. If anyone wants to use an inspiration on this, you'll get an either or, as I'll roll 2 percentiles, and then you can choose from the menu of the 2 items. Does anyone want to use an inspiration here?
This is where my inspiration's going.
Okay, then. / roll 2d100. And so the first item drawn from the bag is going to be either an 87 or a 43. An 87 is going to be a Sunblade. And of course we'll kind of like work lore and story around these items, so we're not just treating them like, oh, this is a Sunblade, I know exactly what this is, and these exist, and every paladin has one, kind of a thing. We'll give it an application of good old Mesomask and Flare. So that's or a 43 is a Gem of Seeing. Now this was your inspiration, so Celine, do you? I mean, this doesn't have to be your item. I guess as a party you could talk about it, but would you like a Gem of Seeing, or would you like a Sunblade?
I'm thinking Sunblade. Is everyone else thinking Sunblade?
It's your
Given what
decision.
we're up against, that would be mine. Gem of Scene, I already got the eye, and we apparently somewhere have a Fomorian eye, so...
Yeah, no, the Fomorian eye's in my backpack. But Yeah, so we're all in agreement.
I hope you put the Fomori and I in Tupperware or something.
It's in a burlap sack.
Unfortunately, it's with that book, so it might be getting paper cuts all over it. Ugh.
It's starting to get a little fermented.
All right.
But we're gonna go with the Sunblade.
All right. So he is gonna pull out a hilt of a sword and tell you that at one point in time, from what he understands, this is obviously bardic knowledge and lore. This was the sword of someone great, and he doesn't know where the blade got off to. But all he has is this is the handle and the hilt and like a, I don't know if it would have a hand basket, maybe just like a crossbar or whatever, or a pommel and a hilt. Yeah.
Yeah, it have a crossbar.
And so he tells you that unfortunately, this carries a great legend with it, but he is not certain. He is not certain how it works or operates. All he can tell you is kind of like the crowns that he came across. Maybe there's something to it. If nothing else, then you have a memory or inspiration of someone who reportedly did great deeds with this blade. And if you go on to do great deeds, maybe you can wake it up or fix it or whatever. So in character, I mean, we're talking out of character, but also in character, you've been handed a hilt of a sword.
Okay.
Okay. Slot 2.
I'll ask to do something regarding that after we're finished dealing with the table.
Slot 2. I will roll a percentile unless Norlai, do you want to spend an inspiration on this?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay then. So Norlai, we are looking at either a 20 or a 6. A 20 is a belt of dwarven kind, and a 6 is a figurine of wondrous power, an onyx dog. Do you want another pet, Norlai?
Yes, I want another.
I mean, to be fair, that is the most thematic decision for her. So I'm totally willing to go with that.
So,
especially since I don't think Norlai wants to grow a giant beard.
You do get a beard with this belt. Now, you don't know that in character, but does Norlai want a beard? I mean, if Mordecai rocked one with a chicken. But, but with that knowledge aside,
Jade and I just have a reason to grow this out of character.
Sort of in and out of character. We could play around with it. You have this choice as you reach your hand in the bag, and in this quantum state, one of these two items exists until you pull it out and observe it, therefore locking it into reality. Which item would you like? A figurine of wondrous power, which is an onyx dog. Or actually, hang on. If that was a 6. Oh, you know what? Technically, that would have been a magic weapon plus 2 because I looked at the percentile instead of... But whatever. If you want a magic weapon plus 2, we could generate that. Otherwise, that was my mistake, and I said it was an onyx dog because I was looking at the 6 on the treasure table. Yeah. It's your choice. I guess you kind of have 3 because I made that mistake. You can get the belt. Is the party? I mean, because this is also kind of party decision. But would you like a figurine?
I'm totally on board with this.
It's awesome. I would like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Norlai, you reach your hand in, and there's a statue, and a statue of a black dog is pulled out, and DJ goes on to tell you that that the tale that this was carved after. This was carved after. This was carved after the great companion. To the person who apparently wielded this remainder of a sword that was also in his bag. And so he was a very good boy. Some described him in legend as the best boy. And so, not only does he have the remnants of this legend, but also there's a little carved statue of his dog that you have. And I just saw the comment, but yeah, I understand. That was my mistake for looking. I said 20 and 6. I'm like, oh, there's the 6 on the treasure chart right there. It's an onyx dog. Okay, and so now there's no further inspirations left to spend. So I'm going to roll a percentile, and this is going to be, unless there's a fickle god out there that wants to give y'all something, but I will roll a...
Gods of fickle nature?
Yes, gods of fickle nature. Because look, fickle gods can, you know, give advantage or disadvantage. They can give there's a fickle god out there that keeps giving y'all nightmares. I don't know who that is, but they're a real jerk.
Oh,
talking about? Those are the best dreams I've had in months.
All right.
At the very least, they're interesting.
And so fate has decreed, or has it, a 10. And on our chart, a 10 would be another a magic weapon. A magic weapon +2. All right, so if we have... We're kind of building a story out of these magic items. So he apparently has found either a tomb or a lost, I don't know, maybe a buried cave where someone where someone had died or something like that. He already has a sword, and if he had an animal companion, probably a ranger, maybe a dual-wielding ranger. That might make sense. With the...
Sure, we're off on camera.
With the, does that count as a long sword and a short sword? Well, still, it is. Okay. So he could.
It's a longsword that functions even if you don't have proficiency in a longsword, but you have proficiency with a short sword, and it's finesse.
Okay. So he could theoretically wield that probably in his primary hand, and so in his offhand, he won't have a sunblade, but he will have a +2 weapon of some kind. So let's see what would be what could be thematic.
The idea of the 3 crowns belonging to 3 members of a royal family or a noble family, and one of them wielded the sunblade, and another one had the puppy, and then the third one had one of these other weapons.
Yeah, because that even brings the art objects into it.
That does. All right, I love where this is. This is D&D, everyone. By the way, if you're new to D&D and you're like, well, it's all about maps and tactics and casting spells, and this is still a part of it. This is communal storytelling, not just the DM, you know, generating this. All right, then. Let's see. So we have a lot of different weapons that this could be. I'm over in Chapter 5 in the Player's Handbook here. So I reckon what I'll do is I will roll a d4 to determine simple melee, simple ranged, martial melee, or martial ranged. And then we'll see what the third amigo here ended up having. Or I guess we'll narrow it down by category. Roll 1d4. Oh, wow. Thank you for bringing that up, Mordecai. All right, so we have a 2. And so a 2 is going to be a simple ranged weapon. And so this is going to be a light crossbow, a dart, a short bow, or a sling. And so I'm going to roll another d4, and we'll find out what we have here. / roll 1d4. 3. 3 is a short bow. So we have a magical sword, a magical dog, and a magical short bow, or you know, it's a short bow +2, so +2 to hit and damage. In the state that it's in, in the state that it's in, it doesn't look like it's anything much. I guess we'll kind of cosmetically treat it like the Sunblade. You know, it's an ancient bow. He found it in the same... he came across a cave that, like, there was a cave in, but he found, because he was trying to take shelter from the rain, and the rain kind of caused a mudslide that opened up the entrance. He went in there, and, you know, he was respectful. That it didn't look like anyone had claimed this stuff in quite some time. Looked like the people might have died in here due to whatever reason. He's not proficient in medicine. And so to carry their story and to help them live on, not in undeath, but to help them live on in legend and in story, he took their things, and he has been trying to piece together clues about who these people were. And so you have these 3 objects that that are a part of this story that now these people's story, if you wish, I mean, you could always sell them if you really want to, but these people's stories are now with you, and you can help them live on. Does that work?
Yeah.
I really like it. So I can't use any of these things. So I'm not going to want them.
Okay.
I think we should hang on to the crowns though, and not just sell them. It seems like they go with the items, and they might have, like, it might be like having the whole collector's item set. It's all worth more as a set than individually. Or they might even have special powers. Maybe, like, the story of the sword, and the sword was a really awesome sword, but the scabbard was even better. It could be like that.
Oh, I'll tell you what. Bright, make an investigation, or a history. I'll allow for either one. Actually, are you proficient in both? Just in history? Okay. 19. Okay. There's not a name that's being associated with these items, but these items do look very old. In your studies, you've probably in wizard school, they had relics that were in, like display cases, and they'd show off, so this is what this looks like, or generally this is like, low functioning items. If you ever were to come across them, like especially, don't look into a ring because who knows what's going to happen, kind of a thing. You might be cleaning your ring and it accidentally goes off, and poof, that's a disaster.
Yeah, I had that happen, but it was a ring of smiles, so it didn't matter very much.
You just roll on the floor, just absolutely in a fit. With a roll like that, given everything you've also seen to this point, the markings on here look like they are old Shadowhar Empire markings and sort of themes that you've seen.
So the crowns are on the weapons?
The crowns and the weapons.
Yeah, so we definitely need to hang on to these because they're probably clues.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. DJ, I think this is a really valuable set of items you've given us, and it feels like we owe you so much because you took care of Jade when she was in trouble, and now you're giving us these, and a ragtag group, but I think we're also a group that it's not bad to have us owe you a favor. So whenever you need something from us, just ask, and we'll make sure that we help you.
I'll always be glad to accept a boon. But you have also given me a great story to tell, and I will write about it, and I will sing of what happened and what I've learned.
Yeah.
I will also benefit with money and knowledge from this.
Okay. Thank you very much anyway. These are really wonderful gifts.
He tells you then that if he's going to hit the road, he better get started. So he starts pulling his cart away, waving and singing a jaunty tune of travel that almost everyone in Mezamaska knows. You all know the words, so you can just sing it in your own head. But because we all know the words, we'll just sing it together like a Disney cartoon in our heads. Squeaky, 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 squeaky.
Hey, 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 goodbye.
Okay, that's not how it sounded to me, but I believe you.
So I'll tell you what, let's take a 10-minute break to refresh. I got to get up and I'm going to get some more water and probably hit the restroom here real quick. And then when we come back, we can solve, since we have a little bit of bonus time tonight, Lethality, you said that Gathering of Nerds isn't broadcasting tonight. So if you all wanted to play a little bit of extra time, we can. That'll be up to you. We can end at 2 normally, but we can still we'll take a break now. Come back in 10 and see how you resolve what's happening here.
All right, sounds good.